After talking to a ton of Pilates instructors and running a business where we have 18 instructors, the most common fear is losing clients, right? I think for everybody and every business owner, especially during a holiday season when it's already a low incoming time for new leads, new customers, it tends to be a time that we just worry, right? And especially with our regular clientele, we worry that they're going to disengage and that they're going to stop coming. So I'm going to go over a couple of strategies with you today that should help you during this time and give you the confidence to not worry about losing your client. Okay? Are you ready to stop trading hours for dollars? Welcome to Move Intel, the essential resource for Pilates instructors and movement professionals serious about building a high income and inspiring career. I'm your host, Emily, and I know the grind. From building a schedule of teaching 30 hours a week to moving into management, I've seen every angle. I now own my own studio, lead teacher trainings, and work with only my dream clients. With my framework, I've had the joy of helping teachers build their schedule by utilizing proven strategies to fill their classes, secure high-value clients, and generate serious income. Every week, we will dive into tools that blend the art and science of teaching mastery and business alike. If you're excited to finally build the client list and bank account that you deserve, pull up a seat. This is Move Intel. Let's get it. So first things first, I want to talk about which holiday is it. We're going to specifically be talking about the November and December holiday period for most people celebrating Thanksgiving and most people celebrating Christmas. So with those two holidays, as we know, Thanksgiving, we have it on a Thursday, usually the last Thursday of the month. And so with that being said, we typically see people traveling that week, or we see our clients having family in town, which means that they're going to, if they're hosting the get together or the gathering, they're going to not be present the week of Thanksgiving. That's our typical case scenario. Okay. And then also after Thursday, people are tired on Friday, they want to sleep in. And then also Saturday and Sunday kind of just like are a wash, especially if they have kids. Let's be honest, right? They have their kids home. They have to take care of them. They're trying to enjoy the holiday. Okay. And then we talk about Christmas. Obviously, we have the first week of, we have the actual week of Christmas. Kids typically get out of school, the week prior or the week of. And so we have families with kids have their kids home. And then we also have all the events involving and revolving around the 24th and 25th of the holiday. And then after that week, a lot of people tend to sort of just relax. Again, the kids are off school, so parents have to stay home and be with their children. And so oftentimes people just completely miss out on workouts the week between Christmas and New Year's. And then you have New Year's, and it just kind of feels to a lot of us, especially in the fitness industry, like there's this revolving door of excuses as to why clients are not going to be coming in. So there's a lot of different ways that we could go about talking about this. My first thing I'm going to talk to you about is knowing the clients that we're specifically talking about. We have private clients, we have duet clients, semi-privates, and we have group classes. They're going to be again, just like we spoke about these scenarios, there's going to be clients that just don't come in during the holidays. And I think just be real with yourself about those expectations. Don't expect that every single client is going to continue their normal routine during the holiday. It's just not realistic. So bust that for a second and just be real. Okay. So you are going to have less people on your schedule and in your classes during the holidays, but we can maximize the time that we have, and we can be strategic during this time frame. So if you train private clients, I'm going to give you 3 tools and things to be thinking about that will help you keep and maintain your clients during this time. So the first thing that we want to be mindful about, like I said, is knowing your clients. Are the clients that we are currently working with that are on our schedule, are they at risk? How long have I been training that client for? And have they established a routine with me? So much so that when they don't come for sessions, they feel a difference. We want to know this information because if we have a client that has an established routine and they love the work that they're doing with you, they're often already, it's not even a question about whether they're going to come back or not after the holiday. It's not a question or not with regards to the whole November through to the new year. It's not a question whether they're going to come during that time frame. Like most people that already feel the results when they come with you and believe in the work that you are doing with them, the results they feel, the support, the maintenance, the less pain and aches, all that stuff, the strength, they're not going to want to stop that progress just because of the holiday. So good news, those clients are going to be the ones that continue with you through the holiday. Sure, they may be out on, Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, but for the most part, again, these clients aren't going to be your at-risk people. They're going to return. They're going to be in and out. So that's one category. The second category is the clientele that maybe we would put in the category of at risk. When I say at risk, what I'm talking about is, maybe they haven't established a routine with you just yet. Maybe they've only been training with you for 4 weeks and, they have a big package and it's about to end. So our job is to resell them into a new package of privates or sessions. And furthermore, if they aren't experiencing, life-changing results just yet, they might be more likely to push off their fitness routine and other things may be more of a priority. So like we mentioned about the holidays and events and schedules and kids and things like that, if our kids are priority and our health and wellness is not, and we're not feeling the results or the changes when we come yet, we might be more likely to sacrifice our time for a workout in order to, go to a Christmas party, in order to, kind of like not, I would say like a lot of times people are not planning. So they last minute do things. And then that's when the roof comes crumbling down and they're going to sacrifice their, self-indulgent, if you will, kind of activities, which some people at risk are going to put their fitness in that category. Whereas people that are not at risk clients, the ones that have been training with you forever, they're going to look at their fitness and health and as a non-negotiable because they already are convinced of the purpose of that and it helps them with their life, right? So dividing out amongst these two categories, it's important for you to know who these people are and put steps in place, I would say weeks before these holidays, so that you can train your clients and establish a long-term client, or I call forever client. We're not going to go over what that really means in this session, but just know it's somebody that you're going to train for a long time, and they're going to be a long-time customer with you, someone that you never have to worry about dropping off your schedule because their sessions with you are a priority. So with that being said, a lot of these clients that are at risk, big part of your priority with training them is to establish a routine. This means we are not moving their sessions around. They are a priority in your schedule. You're sticking to the policies and procedures of the 24-hour cancellation policy, of not rescheduling and rebooking, those things like that. Obviously being human being about that. So you might have to create some wiggle room in those policies and procedures during this busy time as a way, because they're at a risk, because they are at a risk in terms of like coming back and they haven't established this, you may have to create some gray area with them for you and them to continue to work together. Because the more that they see it as that way, they're not going to feel bad when they don't come. They're going to see that you're working with them as best you can in order to keep them coming, which is our priority, right? Okay. So once we've divided our, clients between these categories, the 3 steps really are the same for both. But I would say with the at-risk people, again, you may have to create a little bit more space and be a little bit more on top of things with them prior to the holidays. So the first thing that I want you to do is, prior to this holiday, start talking to the client about their holiday plans. And it doesn't have to be formal before and after the session. It can be casual conversation throughout the session as you're transitioning equipment, transitioning into different exercises, just making a little bit of small talk. Go ahead and get them to talk about it, because the biggest thing that happens is that trainers get blindsided by travel plans and then take that personal or start worrying. We don't have the plan ahead of us, right? This client is a regular person on our schedule 2 times a week. And so at the last minute, if we find out that they're going out of the country for Christmas for 3 weeks, now that's 2 hours, if they're coming twice a week. If they're coming twice a week, that's 2 hours of our time weekly that now we're not going to have a client there and we're not going to get paid for. So we have to plan ahead, right? So think of this conversation. You're making this a warm, friendly conversation, but you're also trying to plan ahead. You're anticipating things. You're working on strategies with this information that you're gathering from your client. You're working on strategies to best support them in terms of what they may need for best success during the holidays, period. Okay. So you're going to ask them their holiday plans. And then depending on what they say, we're going to try to plan and book them out, even if this comes down to changing their regular time or their regular day that they train with you. And so for some people, I would say that they in their mind may not bring up their schedule yet because they don't know exactly what their schedule is going to look like. They are afraid of changing anything because they like the consistency of their time frame, but then they may end up canceling if they don't know that there's flexibility. So when I ask, my clients about their schedule, that's me considering, what they may need from my angle for support, but it's also me planning ahead. And then the second piece, when I'm helping them plan and I'm booking them out, this is me saying, you're so much a priority to me. I mean, I celebrate the holidays too. There's going to be dates that I may be out of the studio for my personal holiday time as well. So I want to make sure that I am being proactive with my clients. That shows that I care and that they're important to me, and their session and their training is important to me. So I will help them. We will look at the schedule and they will tell me when they're in, when they're out, and I will go ahead and book what they're going to be doing. So that way that number one, I know, and it's not a last minute thing. Number two, they have a plan. And so now we don't have to worry about it, right? So 9 times out of 10, the schedule, if we talk about it ahead of time and we're proactive, we can actually make it work for our clients. And even if they aren't sure, we have now had that initial conversation. So now it's that much less stressful for them to bring up changes or anything like that, right? Okay. And then the third thing that I wanted to remind you guys about is number three. Remember that this time of the year, it comes around once a year. It's really special for a lot of people, but it can also be stressful, right? So recognize and be a human being that about the fact that it is the holidays. We can't expect our clients to continue their regular routine during this time of the year. It's just a different time of the year, right? And so make sure that you're leading your conversations and these types of things that you're leading. Make sure that you are doing so with grace and that you are actually showing that you understand and you care about your client. Don't just make it about booking that session and getting them on your schedule because you need to be paid, right? That is not that angle. That even though that is a reality for us as trainers, this is our job, right? And if that client's not coming and we need to make a certain amount a month and we have other people out, there's a stress about, money for sure, because this is our job. But there are other ways that we can get creative with this, which we'll go over in another lesson. But I wanted to give you this last thought. So recognizing that this is the holidays, being human about that, and also incorporating this into your sessions, right? Being real about the fact that someone may have just come from the mall and done all their Christmas shopping, and now they've spent a lot of money. They're really overwhelmed. Maybe they had like a Christmas party last week with their coworkers, and it was really awkward and terrible. Or maybe like they've lost their husband last year at Christmas time, or last year they lost their husband and it's Christmas and they miss him. So just remember that people are going through a variety of life and emotional things at this time of the year. And remember that you're their coach, you're their trainer, but you're also a friend, and they may need you more than ever this holiday season. And just make sure you're doing the best that you can to be there for them, be flexible where you can, and be understanding where you can, so that it doesn't come across as I need to get you booked on my calendar because I need money from your sessions. Okay. So don't lead from that place. Lead from this place of giving, and that will come across to your clients, and they'll be much more likely to book with you through the holidays and be less likely to fall off the bandwagon. And then the last thing I wanted to say, this is more just talking to the fear mindset. I think it's totally normal. I think as trainers, as people in the service industry, I think our worst fear, if we were to be real, is just losing a client, right? Our worst fear is losing a client. And we lose clients for many different reasons. This talk is not about that. But the more that your sessions are encouraging, positive, they meet your client where they are at, especially during the seasons and the life events that may be happening for them, The more present that you are in those sessions, the more that your client will feel heard and will feel included and will want to make time for their sessions. And it will really build that relationship with them to where, again, it becomes a non-negotiable item on their schedule. You are a part of their life. Your session is a part of their life. They look forward to it. When they don't come, they miss out and they feel not so great in their body or in their confidence or things like that. They feel guilty for the food that they're eating because they didn't go work out. So there's so many reasons as to why they need you. And but I think just don't let that overwhelm you. That's not what we're selling. At the end of the day, again, if as long as this client is feeling supported by you and you're there for them during these seasons of life, they will return. And do not fear about that, because that reads and that shows. And so clear your energy, in this time. Look and see realistically, like, which clients that you have and don't have during the season and go ahead and plan ahead, because that will tell you, maybe in the new year, that person that you didn't know was at risk, that is really at risk. Learn from that, right? Turn the page and also start thinking ahead about how many clients you need on your schedule so that you aren't in that boat of stress and concern. Because a lot of times, if we're worried about this going into the season, we didn't do our work prior to the season. There's a lot of things that you could be doing to grow your client list, to grow your schedule before the holidays happen. Okay. So breathe, enjoy these strategies. I hope that they're helpful. Know that you're not alone. And I'm here for you. And so write down any comments below if you have questions or if you find these tips helpful. And hope you have a wonderful December. And yeah, we'll see you next time on Move and Tell.